So, a few things I wanted to talk about regarding Kundalini, regarding health, regarding enlightenment, regarding the Matrix, regarding mind control, just all sorts of stuff. Was up incredibly late last night until about 4 in the morning, studying and researching and meditating, etc. I'm incredibly tired right now, so bear with me. I also recently, 11 days ago, between 9 and 10 days ago, I gave up coffee completely. I've been drinking coffee on and off for years. Mostly I would drink coffee. I'd take periods where I'd go on and off of it. But for the most part, I've drank coffee for quite a while, many years now. And, it's gotten to a point now where it's not part of it doesn't resonate with what I'm attempting to do with my life and my health program, etc. Not anymore. It did serve a purpose, let me tell you. For years, I would use it to help me study. I've been nocturnal pretty much half of my life, and coffee helped me stay up late and download and study and hack the Matrix extensively. Let me tell you, coffee was a very good companion of mine for a long time, but I just have to give it up. And, I in no way, shape, or form drank normal coffee. I was drinking coffee made with filtered water, usually distilled water. When I had distilled water on hand, I would always make my coffee with distilled water, or carbon filtered water, sediment filtered water, that kind of thing. If you want to drink good quality coffee, make your coffee with distilled water and taste the difference. It's the smoothest coffee you'll ever have. It's the best tasting coffee you'll ever have. And I don't know why the mainstream coffee companies haven't caught on to this. I'm pretty sure mainstream coffee companies don't even filter their water. I'm pretty sure it's just tap water. So, I'd also make coffee. I'd put things like shilajit in it, fulvic acid, magnesium. I'd put in sometimes baking soda, activated carbon, spirulina, camu, brown rice protein. Sometimes I would put in ginseng, all sorts of different herbs, etc. So, although I was drinking coffee, and yes, coffee is not considered the healthiest, most alkaline substance on the planet, I wasn't drinking coffee that is what I like to call standard American coffee. No. If you're drinking coffee right now with filtered water or with non-filtered water, that is one of the most unhealthy beverages that you could be drinking, not only for your liver, but for your mind, etc. So, there's other coffee substitutes out there. There's things like yerba mate. I'm experimenting with that right now. There's things like guayusa, experimenting with that right now. There's all sorts of things, such as green tea. I believe kola nut has caffeine in it. There's all sorts of other elements that nature produces for us here in the Garden of Eden that contain caffeine that have a much different effect on the physiology and the mind as opposed to coffee. So yerba mate has caffeine in it. It doesn't have anywhere near as much caffeine as coffee does. And it also has a bunch of antioxidants and various minerals. And it affects the mind and the body much differently than coffee. Coffee, when you drink coffee, it gives you kind of the jitters, and you feel very stimulated. You feel very, at least I did, I felt on edge. But when I drink things like guayusa or yerba mate, it's much more calm. The mind is alert, but the body in the mind isn't so agitated and, stimulated to such a high degree. So, green tea is so good for you. If you can get quality green tea, not your typical store-bought quality, or not your typical store-bought green tea. Real green tea is expensive. Real good quality green tea. If you can source that, if you can afford that and drink that instead of coffee, look at the research on green tea. It's amazing. Anti-cancerous properties, etc. So, I wanted to talk about Kundalini. I got off on coffee, but that's okay because all these things interplay. Health is all related back to Kundalini, and Kundalini is directly related to health. So, talking about coffee for a little bit, nothing wrong with that. But again, if you drink coffee right now, go get yourself a gallon of distilled water from the store for $1.50 and make your coffee with distilled water and try it, and you'll be amazed at the difference. I've said it in previous videos, but I'll repeat it again. Coffee is already an acidic substance. It's not particularly that great for the liver. It's not that great for the physiology, the anatomy. So if you're making coffee, which is already fairly unhealthy for you, and you're making it with unfiltered water, you're just making what's already unhealthy that much more unhealthy. Tap water has all sorts of elements in it. I've said this again, and my regular viewers, either this is going to be me, you're going to hear me repeat myself in my videos, but repetition of a message constitutes mental programming, and I'm trying to reprogram people with quality information here in the Matrix, where not all of it, the majority of the stuff here in the mainstream world in the Matrix is attempting to program you to be unhealthy, and it's attempting to program you to be unwise and non-spiritually activated. So my job is to attempt to program people with quality information that can help them get healthier and to lead more spiritual lives. But again, if you're making coffee it's already acidic, and most of the coffee that people are drinking is absolute garbage. Good quality coffee is not cheap. Most people in the that eat a standard American diet that are not well off, they drink garbage coffee, cheap coffee, as well as people who even have a lot of money. I know some very wealthy people who drink just garbage coffee that's not even organic. So if you're drinking your typical garbage coffee and you're making it with filtered water, non-filtered water, which is filled with mind control agents, things like hydrofluorosilicic acid, chlorine, pipe residues, calcium, scaling lime, etc. You're making a beverage that's already unhealthy and just making it that much worse. And many people drink 1 to 6 cups of coffee made like this every single day for over 30 to 40 years of their life. The coffee essentially is like the fuel that the Matrix has given people so that they could get through their 9-to-5 job every day. But I recently gave it up, and wow, do I feel much better, but I am going through some detox symptoms of giving up the coffee. I got some fatigue going on. I had some mild headaches. And I'm just a little loopy right now, but that will go away in time. So, I've finally gotten to the point where I can let go of coffee, and it feels really good. I drank it again for years as a study tool, and I even used it for exercise, and just I'm at a point now, like I said, where it's not resonating with my energetic resonance anymore, and I have to give it up. Many people say, bro, you're into health, man, and you drink coffee, blah, blah, blah. What the hell? You're all into juicing and all this, but you drink coffee? Coffee has shamanic properties, believe it or not. And coffee was in no way, shape, or form the primary fuel in my diet? No. Herbs were herbalism, juices, algae, flowers, etc. Coffee was just a little aspect of my diet that I used to, really hack a lot of information out of the Matrix. For years I spent anywhere from 2 to 6 to 12 hours a day and night studying and absorbing information off of YouTube and various articles and books, etc. And I used to love making my coffee and just mixing my herbs into it, my magnesium and my oils, and praying over it and drinking it and as a ceremonial drink, and just absorbing the information out of the books and just hacking the system apart. So thank you, coffee, for serving me well. But I am moving on. And I recommend doing that if you can do it. Many people don't have the willpower to let go of it completely. It's a very addictive substance. Very, very, very addictive substance. You know? So, on to Kundalini. I have various videos right now on Kundalini in my archives. If you're interested and stimulated by the idea of Kundalini, if you've had a Kundalini experience, go into my archives and check out my videos regarding Kundalini. One of the main purposes of this channel is to spread information and raise awareness about Kundalini and the reality of Kundalini and what Kundalini can help this planet achieve, what Kundalini can help mankind achieve in terms of evolution, enlightenment, etc. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about how Kundalini essentially is like an organic antivirus system for the human organism, for the human mind, for the human consciousness. Kundalini, when aroused and stimulated, will go up the spine and move through the consciousness, removing and shedding all the aberrations that have been accumulated over the years here in the Matrix from all the programming, all of the conditioning, all of the indoctrinating, all of the inculcating that this programming system does to the human consciousness and physiology. Once the human mind becomes programmed, the mind operates the body, and when you get programmed and installed with all these programs, that's when you start eating all the junk food, that's when you start accumulating poisons and toxins and parasites, etc. So once the mind sheds its programming, we can now get to a state of clear thinking where we can discern properly and see the rationale in eating healthfully, eating in an alkaline manner, etc. Due to the programming that many people have installed in their data network of their mind, of their consciousness, of their heart, of their chakras, etc., many people will never be able to even see the rationale or grasp the inherent wisdom in the idea of raw foods and herbalism and veganism, vegetarianism, etc. Many people here in the United States of Death, in the United States of the Matrix, are totally programmed with the protein programming, the animal products programming. Many people think that they need to consume animal products to sustain themselves, and it's not true in any way, shape, and or form. I am living proof of that, and there are millions of people who are also living proof of that. Let's see how much battery life I have left here on the laptop real quick. Okay, quite a bit. Good. Adjustment here. Many people, due to their, what I'm getting at here is that many people, due to their programming, will never be able to escape the imprisonment of their programming, and therefore they'll never be able to grasp ideas and concepts outside of their limited mindset, which is due to their programming. I hope that makes sense. So when Kundalini does come along, and when it is aroused, and if it does successfully move through the physiology, the anatomy, and awaken the dormant parts of the human body-mind complex and activate the consciousness and tune us into cosmic consciousness and tether us into the cosmos and connect our consciousness with the absolute and the divine, etc. What happens when that happens is it sheds all of the aberrations and installed programs in your body-mind complex, in the consciousness, etc., and you wipe out all of the programming. Kundalini, the serpent energy, the fire, Kundalini fire, burns through all of the accumulated non-spiritual aspects of the human consciousness. It melts through the ego. It melts through the programming. And once that happens, you can begin to finally think and rationalize outside of your previously uninstalled programming, which has now been deprogrammed by the sacred Kundalini. So in a sense, like I said earlier, Kundalini is like a organic antivirus program that goes into the system and removes all of the bullshit. Kundalini can perform miracles that the average person has no clue, as in no way, shape, or form does the average individual here in the West. How would I say this? This is kind of difficult to explain. Kundalini can allow you to experience things that the average Westerner believes are impossible. And I'm not going to rant about those things in this video. I'll make a video about that in the future. But Kundalini essentially is the activation of the dormant self. Remember, I've said it in previous videos, I'll say it again. The average human here in the West and worldwide uses a small, tiny fraction of his or her brain power and the power of his or her glandular system, etc. So when Kundalini does activate, if it does successfully open up the dormant parts of the anatomy, and if it does activate the third eye, the hypothalamus, the brain centers, etc., if it does bridge the left and right brain and connect it with the sacred space of the heart, if it does successfully open up the toroidal field and turn your Merkaba on, etc., you're now using a much larger percentage of your brain power, of your heart power, of your liver power, of your glandular power, of your hypothalamus power, of your lung power, of your bone power, of your blood power, etc. So essentially, Kundalini is evolution, because in order for us to evolve, we have to stimulate and activate the parts of ourselves which are unactivated. The unactivated dormant aspects of our body-mind complex are what is keeping us from achieving enlightenment and evolution. It's like going from preschool all the way up to high school and to college, etc. Each layer, each grade is an upgrade. Now think of mankind as being in kindergarten. Think of mankind's physiology as being in a kindergarten, or better yet, a preschool state. So to activate Kundalini and to stimulate the chakras and to turn the Merkaba on is like going through all of the grades and activating and learning through each grade. But Kundalini comes along and will literally let you quantum leap from preschool to college instantaneously. And that's why Kundalini can be dangerous, because many people in the West have Kundalini experiences, spontaneous awakenings, that allow them to download and absorb too much cosmic information at once, and it overloads their system. So in the West especially, Kundalini, many people, when they have awakenings, it takes them sometimes years to recuperate from what happens to them, because like I've said in the previous video I just posted, which is titled Why Kundalini Can Be Dangerous, many people who have Kundalini awakenings are so blown away by the miracles that they experience. They're so blown away by the mysticism that they experience through the activation of the Godhead. Many people are so blown away by just how magical these experiences are that it makes them ungrounded, because like I said in that video, Kundalini comes along and burns through all of the ego, and it actually, Kundalini contradicts your old self due to the fact that it rips away all the old programming. So it's like you've used your programming and your ego to navigate through this fake matrix, to keep and hold down your job, to do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. And when Kundalini comes along, it burns through all that, and it's like you're left stranded and alone for a while due to that. So, you know, there's a lot of bullshit out here about Kundalini and, oh, it's dangerous because, you know, you can go through a period of psychosis, blah, 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 blah. People, this is a science that is very misunderstood here in the West, and I'm doing my best to attempt to educate about it in the best of my ability through talking about my experiences and what I've learned from it. But Kundalini is not evil. It is not evil. The programming that Kundalini dismantles is what is evil. The programming essentially is what is giving you your Kundalini psychosis. It's not Kundalini. Because Kundalini is your organic self. It's the consciousness that you'd be experiencing if you weren't programmed with all the unhealth, the geoengineering nanoparticulates, etc. Kundalini is responsible for taking our non-crystalline blood and transmuting it alchemically into crystalline blood. When that happens, the Merkaba becomes activated, the aura becomes activated, etc. So don't demonize Kundalini for making you feel ungrounded. Demonize the programming that was dismantled by the Kundalini. That's where the problem lies. Kundalini will scare the shit out of the addicted and programmed self because there's nowhere for, how would I say this? Kundalini, you can't hide from the truth when Kundalini becomes activated. It exposes you. It shows you your karma. It can show you your past lives. There's no limits on Kundalini, which is also known as Uraeus by the ancient Egyptians. Uraeus consciousness, serpent consciousness. So, to sum up that little part of this rant, Kundalini is an organic antivirus software that can come along instantaneously and absolutely burn through your ego and burn through all of the programming that you've installed and have had installed through watching your light code lockdown televised vision program box, your fear generating television. It can dismantle all the programming from all the years of bogus education that you've absorbed through the public fool system. Oops, I mean the public school system, excuse me. And yes, I don't have a goddamn problem if you have a problem with me saying that the public school system is not righteous. Because it isn't. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The public school system doesn't teach anything about the Merkaba. It doesn't teach anything about mysticism. It doesn't teach anything about animal rights. It doesn't teach anything about Kundalini liberation. It doesn't teach anything about the importance of drinking clean water. It doesn't teach meditation, astral traveling, shamanism, etc. No, it teaches you how to be somewhere that you don't want to be 5 days a week for 8 hours a day with like a 30-minute lunch break, blah, blah, blah. And when you do that as a young child, the repetition of it begins ingrained in your consciousness, and now you're okay with working 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, and not having any energy to experience mysticism and the Godhead and Christ consciousness, etc. So the public school system is not something of a salubrious nature, and I don't care if you have a problem with me saying that. Although you do learn some good things from the public fool system, such as how to read and write. But then again, we could all be experiencing telepathy, but we've learned to talk, and I'm not even going to get into that. That's a completely different rant for another video. So Kundalini dismantles the programming and re-enlightens the tissues. It re-enlightens the blood, the lymph. It re-enlightens the ganglia, the divided self, and it unifies the divided self, the male and the female aspects of the consciousness and the body-mind complex, by tethering the separated regions back together through the activation of the spinal staff, the Kundalini, the activation of the chakras, of the spinal staff of Hermes. So, and another reason why so many people have difficulties with Kundalini is due to the fact that the consciousness that Kundalini allows you to experience is so foreign to the average person's consciousness that it blows their mind. It blows their mind. And it can be very dangerous for certain people to have Kundalini awakenings. And some people spontaneously awaken through taking things like psilocybinic mushrooms, LSD, etc. The average Westerner experiences Kundalini through extreme yoga practices and breathing practices that are forced, in psychedelics. Psychedelics are responsible for hundreds of thousands of spontaneous Kundalini awakenings. Because psychedelics, believe it or not, and entheogens, all these different shamanic elements, things like ayahuasca and things of that nature, they allow you to get outside of your programmed consciousness temporarily, and when that happens, certain things in your anatomy react to that and begin to take place, because your anatomy in your physiology reacts to your mind, and when your mind becomes clear, certain processes can begin to happen on the cellular level, which can activate Kundalini. So I'm not going to rant about that right now. Not at all. Right now, I am just sitting in my car drinking a little distilled water mixed with shilajit, ginger root powder, magnesium liquid, or magnesium concentrate liquid, and what else is in this? And ginkgo biloba. Been drinking clean, healthy, spiritually structured water all day, mixed with herbs, etc. I had a few bites of organic potatoes this morning for breakfast, but other than that, I haven't eaten anything all day, and I'm going to continue doing this for the next few hours. And man, am I looking forward to my salad tonight, my arugula salad. Arugula, I love arugula, one of my favorite greens, and it feels so good to fast temporarily, fast for like 6 to 8 hours a day and then eat. And the eating experience is such a more holy, more appreciative experience. You experience so much more gratitude when you fast for long periods before you eat, because when you fast before you eat, you prime your body for nutritional absorption. When you fast and you have nothing digesting, when you have nothing in the stomach, etc., when you do eat, you rapidly absorb the nutritional elements, the phytoelements, the colors, the pigments in the foods that you eat, because your body is primed to download the information. It's different. Like if you had a bunch of food in your stomach and then you ate a salad, it downloads so much differently than if you were completely clear and then you ate the salad and just rapid absorption, rapid downloading of the information inside those leaves, inside the food. See how much battery I have here? 25 minutes or so. So yeah, I'm gonna have an arugula salad with a homemade salad dressing that I put minerals back into, because most of the salad dressing, let's face it, folks, is garbage. That's on the market, 99% of it. I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna have some vegan soup with potatoes and green beans, chickpeas, distilled water I make it with, then I add minerals back into it with things like fulvic acid and magnesium concentrate after it's cooked and it's cooled down. So everything that I eat is mineral laden and mineral dense. Why not? Why not take what we eat and supercharge it with minerals? That's my logic right now. That's what I've been experimenting with that, and I like my discoveries through my experimentations. So I'm going to continue doing that. Also, I've been experimenting with Lugol's transdermal iodine for the last, 2.5 months. I've used this before in the past, but the bottle broke, so I didn't really get to experiment with it that heavily. But I do like what I'm experiencing with this iodine as well. According to my research, iodine is one of the #1 lacking minerals in people's diets. And iodine is completely responsible for activating and keeping the thyroid, which produces thyroxine, which is basically the master element of the body. Iodine is responsible for keeping the thyroid healthy so that it can produce that element and keep the body healthy. The thyroid is responsible for metabolism. So a lot of people who have weight problems, they have a thyroid problem, and many people don't eat anything that has real iodine in it. So, Ayurvedic herbs such as shilajit has large traces of iodine in it. Brown seaweed extract has large traces of iodine in it. Kelp extract, and things like nascent iodine or Lugol's iodine. You can get iodine from these these different elements. And when I first started taking iodine, let me tell you, my throat got all sore. I experienced all sorts of detox reactions, because what my research is right. When you start taking the natural iodine, it starts pushing out all of the junk that the thyroid has stored, so that it can absorb the real iodine. Because the thyroid, and again, if my research is correct, will absorb any form of iodine that it can get, even if it's radioactive iodine. So by taking the natural real iodine, it pushes out the radioactive iodine that the thyroid's absorbed. It pushes out the junk so that it can begin to upload the information from the real iodine, and the garbage junk that the thyroid has stored is dumped into the bloodstream, and that's why you feel like shit for a while when you start taking iodine. Many people do. I did for a while, and then it went away, and now I feel great. So this is actually transdermal. A lot of the stuff people are taking orally, I've taken oral iodine once, but I've just been taking the transdermal. I put it on my wrist or my thyroid and I rub it in. Oh, man. So just a brief little video, ranting about Kundalini, ranting about some different health stuff, etc. I've said it again, and I'll say it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I recommend getting on distilled water, and in drinking nothing but clean, restructured distilled water that you've exposed to sunlight and moonlight. By putting your distilled water in the sun and leaving it in the sun warms the water and changes the structure. It embeds the water with the solar codes of the solar realm. And then when it sits in the moon has an affinity to completely restructure what's already been restructured by the sunlight and perfect it. So the sun charges and cleans the water even further and embeds it with solar codes, and then the moon comes and finishes and just perfects the structure of the water. And people like to tell me all the time, oh bro, what are you talking about? The sun doesn't do anything to the water. You're fucking crazy, blah, blah, blah. The moon doesn't do anything to the water, blah, blah, blah. The moon affects all water on the planet, whether you believe that or not. It affects the ocean, it affects the fluids in your body, it affects everything. So it is what it is. If you don't want to drink clean water that you've exposed and had the sun and the moon blessed, then don't. I mean, keep drinking the fluoride water. Keep drinking the arsenic water. Keep drinking the pipe residue water. Take a look at what happens to sinks in mainstream cities from just having tap water pass through them for over 3 to 4 years. Many of them become clogged, filled with junk, scaling elements, etc. Take a look at a sink pipe and then take a look at a clogged artery. They look identical. And if the water can clog a sink and impede water from flowing through that sink pipe, what do you think it's going to do to you? People don't know how to connect point A and point B anymore. People don't know how to look at a sink pipe and go, wow, if that can do that to the sink, maybe it's doing it to me. People have lost their minds. And that's one of the main goals of the dehumanizing agenda here in the Matrix that the New World Order is attempting to do to people. They're trying to dislodge and disassociate proper thinking in people. And they do that by filling you full of garbage, which matriculates and augments and aberrates the firing of certain reactions in the body, in the brain, etc. So if you can alter synapses and alter the way that the brain uses its elements, and you can get these elements to fire in different manners, if you can alter the way the liver works, if you can alter the way that the enzyme system works in the average human's body, if you can alter the fluids in the body, if you can clog the sewage system, the lymphatic system of the body, you can affect the mind and you can dumb the mind down. And when you dumb down the mind, you can control people, because now they're only using 1 to 4% of their brain and their body's power. And when that happens, people are easily manageable and easily controllable, because when people are operating on such a suboptimal level, they don't have the ability to discern in a rational, divine manner. And when that happens, people are subjected to being bamboozled by the system, by the matrix. They're hoodwinked constantly by the system. So, it is what it is. It's just another day in the land of the dead. I do see people becoming more stimulated by naturalism and herbalism and health and veganism and vegetarianism, etc. But it's still, it's 2015, people. We could have been at such a higher state here on Earth. I mean, consciousness could be evolved by now. The planet could be at such a more exalted level of health, etc. So we're inchworming along, and we really need to start being like a roadrunner and running. We need to stop being like inchworms and moving so slowly. But, you know, we live in a... I'm not even going to say that. Man. Oh, man. It's just, there's so much magic to experience here on the earth plane. There's so much divinity. There's such sacred consciousness that we can experience. We can actually communicate telepathically with animals, with dolphins, with whales, etc. There's so many miracles that we can experience by activating the Godhead and uniting with the cosmos, with the divine. But we're never going to do that working on the beast system that we're currently working on and living by. Most people don't even view animals as being intelligent, sentient creatures with sacred consciousness. Most people think that animals are here for like to be like tools for humans. It's disgusting. It's disgusting how far we've fallen in the mind and in the body, and how we've used and raped this planet and the beings that live on this planet. It's disgusting. But I'm being negative, bro. I'm being an extremist because I'm talking about that. You people have had your priorities fucked up. You're negative, bro. You're negative. You're talking about all this negative stuff. No, I'm talking about the truth, Junior. If you can't acknowledge the truth, then come on, man. You'd rather live in illusion and a lie, or live and acknowledge the truth. We're never going to change the planet if we don't acknowledge the truth. We're never going to transmute the negative into positivity. We're never going to transmute the negativity into positivity if we don't change the negativity into positivity. And the only way you do that is if you acknowledge the negativity. You don't act like everything's okay when it's not and think that everything's just going to work out. I mean, come on. Come on. Each one of us has a role here to help heal the planet. And many of us have received a call from the universe, and many of us have hung the phone up. Pick the phone up, listen for a minute, and click, going back to ignorance. I'd rather live in the Satan system. Hello, God. Oh, I have a mission. I have a purpose here on life, or I have a purpose here on this planet to help heal the planet and to experience enlightenment. Click. Hi, Satan. Hi, what time's the football game on? Okay. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Punk. Punks, plural. Two phones are ringing. You got the divine and you've got the unholy, and many people are fucking plugged in to the Satan system. And I don't care if you have a problem with me saying that. Statistics will prove that we are living in a Satanistic, demonic paradigm. Look at how many species we've wiped out. Look at how many species we continue to wipe out. And nobody bats an eye. Look at all of the garbage that people devote their time to. All the fake, the makeup and the jewelry and the lavish matrix lifestyle of glamour and high status and blah, this and that. It's disgusting. There's a planet here that is screaming for your help. constantly calling you to wake up, but you don't want to wake up. Whatever. $12 left on this battery. It's probably going to be more like 5 minutes. This laptop has a tendency to die really quickly, so I'm just going to wrap this up. Again, Kundalini is the natural, organic antivirus. Don't demonize it. Demonize the programming that Kundalini comes along and dismantles. The number one enemy of the system, in my opinion, is enlightenment and the activation of Christ consciousness, the activation of the Kundalini. Because through Kundalini, not only do we realize who we are, but through realizing who we really are, we realize our real power. We realize that we're infinite beings with a infinite amount of potential and power. So, again, keep drinking your fluoride water. Keep eating all of the abused, tortured, factory-farmed animals that are filled with death energy, the resonance and the energetic resonance of death. Keep eating it. You know, keep putting all the lead, the makeup with the lead on it, with the lead in it on your face. You know, keep watching all of the television. And every time you have free time to do something creative, don't do something creative and just, you know, waste away. Watch more television. You know, never read, never meditate, etc. But if you do pick up and receive the call, and if you're willing to listen to the universe, man. The universe is your mother. The universe is your home. But many of you want to buy into the synthetic, fake fucking reality that the Matrix is embedded into your body-mind complex, your physiology, your data networks, etc. So many people will spend more time chasing money their entire lives than chasing their own divinity and awakening. And that is repugnant. That is disgusting. And that's what Satan wants you to do. Wants you to spend all your time worrying about what others think. Wants you to spend all your time trying to fit in with the collective thousand-headed ass, the herd of humanity. Wants you to spend all your time chasing after riches which don't even have any substance outside of the material plane. What good is a bunch of gold and all this bullshit? What good is all this when you don't even have your soul? The real riches come from the soul. The real riches come from the heart, the sacred space of the heart. Money can't buy enlightenment. Money can't buy your soul. Money can't buy your divinity. So remember that the real riches emanate from God. They emanate from divinity and understanding who you are. You're not going to understand or know who you are when you contradict the laws of nature and just use earth and use your mother, use the earth as your stomping ground to do all your sinning and all of your evil. And I'm in no way, shape, or form saying that I'm perfect. I still have tons of stuff that I'm working through. But I mean, come on, many of you guys are still like in elementary school. And I'm not saying this necessarily to my subscribers. I'm saying it to anyone out here in the Matrix who is still just plugged into the system. Many people are so poisoned by the system that they can't even recognize that they're poisoned by the system. And that's what's so scary about programming, because programming programs you to believe that you're not even programmed. And that's how you keep an individual from never moving anywhere in life, never having a sense of direction. And God is your sense of direction. God is your internal compass. So on that note, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you like this video. Please leave comments. Please share this video. Please help it go viral. Peace be with you.